Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome again to another episode of Unveiled Voices. I'm Anifah, one of your hosts, as usual. And here with me we have... Why did you just kill... You just killed my vibe. You're supposed to Mariam, not Mariam. How you doing? How you? That's so fake.
I'm good, alhamdulillah.
Yeah. So we're happy to be back here again. I think we have to first touch on the fact that our last episode the response to it was amazing. You know the stats because you have your fingers on top of
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I know the back of that episode we got over 70 subscribers, and I think that's just amazing. Thank you so much for riding with us.
You too.
As we said in that last episode, we're here for you. We're here to, touch on things we think are super important for our community, Muslim women, Muslim men, our younger ones, even the older ones. It's an open community, so happy for everyone to be here. Mariam, I don't know if you have anything to add to that about the last episode.
Yeah, so I was just randomly checking the YouTube statistics and I was like, wait a minute. This is basically just off the back of our year in review video. So that was really, really good. So to our new listeners, welcome on board. And we hope you love it here. We are all about amplifying Black Muslim women. I'm talking through the challenges Black Muslim women face. In the workplace, in diaspora. We talk about everything growth, career development, day-to-day living, even struggles of faith and all of that. So yeah, we're very hopeful that you would love it here. You can ask from our very loyal subscribers and listeners. So yeah, we're hoping that you would also love it here.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, let's talk about today's topic. What we're talking about today is a super important topic. It's something that has affected me personally. I know, Mariam, you'd also have your experience. I know everyone listening will probably have one thing or the other. Without further ado, what we're talking about today is negative self-talk. Mariam, when you hear negative self-talk, what comes to your mind? What are you thinking about?
So I think in this age and time of there is just so much you have to achieve. There's just so much you have to do to be able to kind of keep up. The world is rapidly changing. There are a lot of things that are changing. Even the situation you sort of find yourself in, there are expectations, things you expect to achieve or expect to get out of that particular situation. So we oftentimes find ourselves thinking, oh, am I supposed to be here? Can I do this? What if I fail? All this kind of negative self-talk. So it's just basically having self-doubt, not thinking you are capable, not thinking the odds are in your favor, not thinking certain things can work out for you. And we've definitely all faced that one time or the other. No matter how smart, no matter how good you are, I'm sure at one point or the other you've doubted yourself, thinking, oh, should I go for this next goal? Should I go for this next thing? What if? So I think one thing I probably would want to say we acknowledge is there would always be that underlying self-doubt. We're human beings. Sometimes we don't think we are capable of achieving some certain things, but I just think the way to go about it is not allowing that self-doubt to kind of overtake ourselves, our personality, and getting above it every time that sort of happens. So yeah, I think that's what I think about self-negative stuff. How about you?
Yeah, totally agree with everything you said. When I think negative self-talk, I'm thinking, okay, my inner critic, sometimes even feeling ooh, am I a fraud despite everything I've done? And I'll give an example. So this happened to me quite a while back. basically we used to do this thing called all hands meeting in my office. And what would happen at the time was like some teams in the company would have people who work on them like hosts. So there would be like maybe one host talking, and then when it's time we join the like general big all hands where it's like broadcasted across the company. But on site there would be like a part where people would host, right? And it was usually like familiar people, more senior people. So at this time, I'd done my internship and then I'd come back full time, right? And I had a friend who started at the same time. And that day, the thing was running was when I found out that, oh, my friend who we started this thing together was actually co-hosting that day with a bunch of other grads. I didn't know that. And the kind of person I am, honestly, I just like watched. I didn't feel any sort of way. I was even engaged because like these were people like me. I was more inclined to listen, right? And then that was the end, you know. Then after that, like some people I'd never even spoken to, some people who, you know, also had some sort of relationship to me, started making comments like, oh, why aren't you hosting? You can do the next one. It was like there was this like unspoken expectation. Because I wasn't part of that moment, that thing happened. People just assumed maybe something was wrong, maybe. And to put in context, like at this time, I was still like finding my feet in a very large organization. Like I was learning the ropes, you know, smashing it at my job. But suddenly I started to feel like, wait, maybe I'm not doing enough. And
am I supposed to be here?
You know, and I started to think like, why was I not asked to host? Like I started spiraling. In hindsight, like some of these people that said these things to me, they probably had the best intentions. But that was the moment that I realized that a lot of like what results in us like negatively talking down on ourselves is because people just project their own expectations. As a very thoughtful, introverted person, I find it exhausting when people just think something is wrong because you're not like loud or super involved in certain things. And one of the things I would say is that you really have to be cautious about what you internalize. Like there's feedback, but then understand your triggers and understand like how to kind of separate what is constructive in a way that gets you to that next level versus well, I'm not good enough, or why didn't they involve me in this, because it's absolutely not helpful. I just had to give that like anecdote just so people can contextualize how these things can be triggered, right?
Yeah. Negative talks could also be from, so like we already said, like you doubting yourself. I'm sure most of us, especially some of us that are working abroad, like when we first got here, we've had that case of imposter syndrome, like, okay, wait a minute, what exactly am I actually doing here? Am I even supposed to be here? That kind of stuff. Mine even was even earlier, before even like traveling. My very first job, I've mentioned on this podcast before that I didn't exactly apply to the company. I just put out a LinkedIn post and then they reached out to me saying, oh, come for an interview. And I remember on the day of the interview, I woke up and I was like, wait a minute, they probably made a mistake. Like, am I sure they actually wanted me to come? Should I go? Should I not go? What if I go and then I don't meet up to the expectation of what they are looking for? Like, how would that be? But I remember going through all those like spiraling movements, and I went for it, and it actually even ended up being more of a chat than an actual interview. And down the line, going for that interview was one of the best career moves I made, because that kind of like set me up for how my career journey has been over the years. So yeah, would always have that negative talk, and like you said, knowing when to separate what is actually something that is negative talk, so what is something that you probably need to even actually work on, knowing how to separate that and knowing how to put that on your path for growth and development is very key and essential.
Right. So we've kind of established, you know, what negative self-talk is. We've kind of given personal stories of like how it has manifested in us. Like, but what do you think causes it? Like, apart from other people maybe saying things to you, or you feel like, oh, this space you are is a bit daunting, it's not your usual space. What other things can make you feel like, oh, you know, maybe I'm not enough, and you start to kind of talk down on yourself?
I mean, there could be cases of where you've probably been used to getting things done easily, and then you maybe start to struggle in like something similar, and then you start to think, okay, what's going on? Yeah, what's going on here?
I was seeing stuff on Twitter where like people talk about former gifted child and saying things like that, where people are like, oh, I can't believe this was the brain I used to do X, Y, Z, and now I'm struggling with.
Oh yeah,
It's so crazy because it has this all or nothing mindset, right? Where because things have been easy for you, almost like for the first half, you go into the real world and you see that, oh, life is actually not like that, and then you spiral.
Yeah.
And then you start magnifying your flaws while ignoring your strengths. I also think, particularly because a lot of things that happens to us in like adulthood, I try personally to look at upbringing. I think there's some connection in there, right? If people have had very critical parents where you can't even make mistakes, or
it's either best or nothing.
Yeah, even cultural influences, right? I know cases of where like, you know, people will be home, one parent is arriving and everybody just dispatch, right? Like, it sounds funny, but those are like environments where you start to like critique yourself just because of what is happening, right? As a result of your upbringing. Another reason I think, like from my perspective, is also when you're younger, people are less like politically correct, so to say. I always say that kids are mean. So I'll give you an example. And this one is more of like physical features, right? And I was like thinking, when is the first time that you think to yourself, oh, I'm not pretty? Or you don't even say it in that way, or maybe a particular physical feature you have, and you're like, yeah, I don't like that about myself. And yeah, go on. Like,
no, I think that was, again, see your point on, just join on your point where you mentioned like kids can be very mean. The first time I felt conscious about my hollow was when I was in primary school. Yeah, when I was in primary school, and then you would hear people making the decision of Mariam is the darkest person in class. When then this other guy was actually 10 times darker than I am. And they were literally like comparing us that we're two darkest people in the class.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what? Who are you right now? So, I'm experienced pretty much darker than me. So yeah, to your point on children can very mean, that's an example. And I think that kind of also made me conscious. Oh yeah, I'm dark. There is this kind of dark. Then also like coming to the UK where you learn that there is dark, there is brown, there is white. So I'm like, yeah.
The real point of this is I wanted to talk about negative self-talk also stems from things, childhood, your upbringing, bullying from others. You can easily, especially that time when you're like super vulnerable, and you've not really formed the person, you're still like cooking, let me put it that way, and someone tells you, oh, your lips are too big, like you just internalize one, and then
it has to be subconscious,
and your lips are too big is playing in your head. Or let's even talk about black hair, for example, 4C black hair. A lot of people have got about what their hair looks naturally, what African hair looks like naturally, because it's like, oh, your hair looks rough, oh, I can't go out with it. And I'm like, have you ever sat down to like question at what point did it become like that for like you didn't, this didn't start from when you were in your mother's womb, right? Like you internalize it at some point in your life. But yeah, and it's crazy, like some of these things that we are kind of dragged for in the past, right? Those are the features that are now trending. People actually pay to get these things to it just to show that, again, you just simply cannot allow all external negativity to get to you. It's fine when you're younger, but the moment when you start to like form your own opinions, you need to like question, like you need to question everything you're thinking. In fact, it is almost so that you know that you're not falling into that piece. Yeah. Cool. Do you feel like being black add some extra dimension to this, and particularly for us where we live in the West, we work here, we spend most of our time here. Like, how do you think that changes things or makes things even complicated?
Yeah, I think the very first time I had proper interactions with non-Nigerians was when I started my first full time. Yeah, my first full time job actually. So then I joined in COVID year. What would have happened was, because of the company I was working for, would have gone to Dubai that year for actual induction, but that didn't happen because it was COVID year, so we couldn't fly and all of that. So our induction was sort of virtual. So we did with people from all over the world. We had the virtual blah 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 blah. And I remember that was the first time actual connection one-on-one with non-Nigerians. I from talking to them and all of that, then I was like, okay, hey, me, I'm just one black Nigerian from Lagos. What do I do? All of that. Yeah. It's quite kind of took me a while, because all those interactions in the induction, they'll be doing oh, can somebody tell me? I was very be careful. Okay, I don't want to talk. I want to do whatever. But then I just snapped out of it that, excuse me, you're here. And even from seeing the other people, because we did introduce yourself and all of that, I was yeah, these guys don't have anything super extraordinary to my own portfolio. Why should I just try to play it down just because I feel quote unquote, because I'm black and I'm in this setting? Yeah, I'm in this setting because I earned to be in this setting, so that should not be a blocker for me to yeah. So I just snapped out of it. And I also remember when I traveled down to Dubai, my very first one-on-one conversations there, then obviously I'd already grown my brand. There was already a reputation of who Mariam is and all of that. So yeah, it wasn't okay, because I'm just here and I'm black, I would have to tone it down or not talk or not do whatever. To your point, yes, there have been cases where I felt like that, but also understanding the importance, the magnitude of what I am as a person, the potential I carry, the achievements I have as a person, understanding that, and then be yeah, I'm more a swag girl too. Yeah. That's stuff. Or a Yoruba phrase came to my mind. When someone said, no, okay, I'm not small in this life. Okay, exactly. I was saying we okay. Yeah. Honestly, about intersectionality of identity, how does it play in? Like I said earlier, personally, if you ask me, I think I'm a very confident person, right? But I'm also very thoughtful. And when I go into new spaces, it takes me a while to feel psychologically safe with everyone, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think some people just have louder voices and more extroverted. So when they see maybe it's taking you some time to warm up, instead of doing it in a way maybe trying to help you to get a leg up and, I don't know, make it non-obvious what they're doing, they kind of face you pointedly and are oh, what's happening? And then you start to internalize it. I will say again that for me, a lot of this kind of scenarios, I didn't go in thinking, or, I don't deserve to be here. As a matter of fact, maybe I even have a big head, because sometimes I'm just yeah, I did it. So for me, I should be here. Yeah. It takes people, if people start to question me in certain ways, then I'm what vibe am I giving off? So I would say that when you're the only hijab in the room, when you're the only black person in the room, it's easy to wonder if you belong there or not, or if other people are capable or not. That being said, there's also the thing of balancing kind of what societal norms are. So I'll give you an example. In Nigeria, you don't talk to elders in a certain way, and that also translates into work environment, right?
I was still talking to some people in an event I went to, and they were like, oh, they don't feel comfortable referring to someone by their name. And I was like, I was shocked. Okay. Because like all my life, or even though, I worked briefly in Nigeria, I was perfectly fine with referring to my boss's boss, whoever they are, by their name, and I didn't see it as a problem. But I realized that that's my experience. At some workplaces in Nigeria, for example,
you have to put this
also going into different spaces and even trying to understand, okay, what is the thing that is encouraged? Very hard. And I think those things is easy to internalize that, okay, getting your footing and all of that and saying, okay, how assertive do I want to be versus like everything that I've been taught from home, from be humble, to not talk too much, to not take up too much space versus, okay, I'm in this space, I'm the manager, and this, I need to actually be assertive and take so much. So all of this like rumbling around in your head actually makes it very hard not to think about it, the things this way.
Okay, have you ever felt like, hey, you're DII?
No. I don't think I've ever been a DII. Why?
No, not that. No, I'm saying, have you ever thought that you are a DII?
No. What would even make me think that way? Honestly, again, like I always say maybe because I have a very big head. Like I think I deserve the world.
Yeah, no, I thought, but I know, like when I was trying to like get a job here in the UK, because I knew I was going to move from Dubai to the UK, I was like giving a lot of thought to it, because my current job is the first job that I actually applied for. Like I actually had to go through like the selection process for. So I remember when the time thinking, well, worst case scenario, they just we have the kind of stuff. So yeah, but I mean, I really thought I was like super fine. My interviews were very awesome. My interviewers loved me and all of that. But yeah, and that was just like a passing thought to my mind. Then the worst case scenario, just like
You know the funny thing, because when you talk about DII, I've always had distance, even in the thick of the woke thing. When I think about woke, I just like 2020, George Floyd, everything that happened until 2023. But like that gap is like the wokest of the wokest time period. And even then, when a lot of roles, you will see head of DI, head of this, head of that. And by the way, I don't have anything against DI. Yeah. I think the word DI and woke they've been completely separated from their meaning.
Overplugged.
But what in mind was, when I'm in a space, I'm going to try to outwork everybody. What I don't yet have a skill set, I'm going to if I need to brute force it, if I need to work extra hours to understand, I'm willing to do it. And I don't ever want to be put in a position where I can't use I'm not skilled. So there's a lot of tendency for
to
kind of push like women particularly into some kind of roles that are not like super technical, or more like, do managerial stuff, like try to push other.
Yeah, just because they want them to have soft landing.
My career, I'm like, put me in front of wherever it is happening in terms of the hard technical stuff.
The action is
that's where I want to be. Because I've just said that the thing of everything will come and go. Your skill set is your skill set. Anyway, we digress. The other thing I wanted to go into is we've talked about what causes it, the different ways it manifests. How do you actually deal with it, right? How do you combat negative self-talk?
So I think I briefly mentioned the other time when I was talking that as you first need to know yourself as a person, and also understand what triggers for this negative self-talk. So you know yourself as a person. Oh yeah, Mariam, you've accomplished this, you've accomplished that. Your past records speak for you. Your achievements speak for you. Now the next question is, why are you doubting yourself? Like, why you feeling you cannot get this. Then try to understand what those triggers are. And so sometimes it could be a case of you just need to probably understand that there's a gap. So say for instance, I know what I've done all my life is finance, and there is a role for maybe CFO somewhere. Yes, I know I have like years of experience in finance, but the question is, am I well equipped to actually apply for that CFO role at this point in my career? So yes, there will be negative talk in my mind of, oh yeah, I can't do this, I can't do that. But there's also like self-realization of, okay, this is the CFO role. Yeah, you've done this, you've done that, but these are probably still some gaps you need to bridge. Like, it's not like you're not capable. You're not just well equipped for the role now, but if you do this and this additional to what you've accomplished, you can like go for this role in like X number of months or X number of years and all of that. So to just like summarize, what you need to understand is yourself what, like understand who you are as a person, what you're capable of, your strengths, your weaknesses, or things you're also trying to like upskill and improve yourself on. Then also understand what are the triggers for this self-talk. Is it because you are in a group of friends that they are always like trying to make you feel low or trying to not encourage you? Are you with a partner that doesn't believe in you, that doesn't see your self-worth, that doesn't like think you can do this? Just try to understand what those triggers are and then trace it from there.
Yeah, that's a very good point. For me, I would say that the first thing would be, as Muslims, we don't lean on Allah enough to be like, we don't hold our God. Yeah. I'm talking about as you are feeling that thing, continue to talk to God in your mind. I don't understand.
Yeah, calling Ya Allah.
We holding on to God.
Yeah.
Really, people, because we feel so comfortable, like, ranting to our friends, ranting to other people. Your creator is there, just waiting, arms open, talk.
Yeah.
Like, I'm closer to you than your juggler, and you're there, not telling Allah what you're worried about. So I think, as Muslims, we should try as much as possible to lean on Allah a lot, also leverage a lot of Islamic teachings around self-worth. Allah does not go beyond more than it can bear. With hardship comes ease. When these things are going on in your mind, as much as possible, you need to decompress. And I think one of the best ways of decompressing is listening to the word of God and also talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your mind. I think to move from, like, shift away from the spiritual perspective, you should always challenge some sort of narrative as well. So, Mariam and I, what is common to us is we've talked about how, being in certain spaces, being around a lot of people that don't look like us, don't have a background. Sometimes even getting some feedback makes us internalize certain things. Like, for me, my job is really to succeed as myself. Like, I'm not here to overcompensate for how other people see, the demography I belong to, right? So, for example, if there's someone, I don't know, this is just hypothetical, that thinks, maybe Black women don't talk a lot in in the meetings. I think it's not my job to correct that impression, because personally, if I have something to say, I would say it. So I need to diversify. This person thinks, this demography of people is a certain way, versus, do I have something to say? I'm going to say it. If I don't have something to say, I'm not going to make someone make me like start to now cook up things or, act outside of myself because I want to do Captain Save a Lot and, challenge everybody's notion of what a Muslim woman or what a Black Muslim should be, right? One other thing I would say, because I think we didn't touch on this while talking about the topic, is there needs to be a distinction between negative self-talk, imposter syndrome, versus, like, you need to tell yourself the truth sometimes. Like, me, I'm a fan of, like, so people will say, it's imposter syndrome. No, you don't actually know the thing. Let's not lie to ourselves. So, for example, I'll give an example with tech, because that's what I know, right? If you've not patterned down, and then I say pattern down, if you've not mastered the art of, like, certain things, like algorithms, data structure, systems design. Why are you trying to interview with a
Yeah.
Why are you online complaining that the interview process is not even reflective of? Is that what you tell yourself the truth?
The truth, yeah.
Don't say, oh, I have imposters. No, you've not studied. You don't know that thing. So for me, I think there needs to be because it's a fine line between when you are negative self-talking and when you have imposter syndrome. Stuff, yeah, love that. You know, I need to do this thing. So negative self-talk to me is more like, oh, I'll never be good enough no matter what I do. It's completely unproductive. It drains your energy. On the other hand, it's sort of like get yourself together, might be like, okay. Anifah, you've been procrastinating. What's one thing you can do right now to work towards this thing you're trying to achieve? It's honest but constructive. So for me, you need to understand the key of when to silence your inner critic versus when to channel it into something actionable.
Yeah.
I think we need to come down to physical features again because I am passionate about it. Like I, for example, I deal with acne a lot. I'm very acne prone. So I also have like...
Are you actually?
I
don't think so.
And so you can see like even...
Have you seen acne prone people before?
God, let me have my struggle. You see, this is what I'm saying now without my face. So yeah, like I think to some extent I have like mild breakouts, and I think because I'm a bit on the lighter side, my spots are prominent. Again, it could be in my head because Mariam is now looking at me like I don't know what Anifah is saying. But the thing I wanted to say was there was a time where I wouldn't step out if I've not like covered up my like scars to make it blend and not be. And I was like, wait, like people have acne, it's normal. I'm just going to start going out without. I mean, if I want to like cover up, it's fine. But I don't need to do it every day. I can go to work barefaced. Like nobody is going to run away if they see me barefaced. And I just started to do that. And I think I look perfectly fine, to be honest. So what I'm trying to get to is that question why you don't feel comfortable going out barefaced. Question why you think a certain feature looks not ideal, and try as much as possible to be okay as yourself. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I mean, I definitely owned my dark narrative. Like,
girl, I'm dark.
Yeah. Exactly.
Allah created me, and I'm going to be that. You know, I'm not going to. But and subhanallah, we also need to be mindful about what we say to people. Like a lot of times, people comment on things that they have absolutely no business commenting on. You're not big, go. And my people, I'm sorry, Nigerians, my people. I love my people, but oh my, especially our adults, they're like, you're not big,
yeah,
not to extend. I'm like, this person does not know. They can't
know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we need to be careful about what we say to people because, again, you don't know how they're taking it. Of course, not like you can, be constructive depending on how your relationship is with that person. But let's not just be unnecessarily mean. It just makes me feel sad when people are just mean to others for no reason, right?
And it could also be because they also like projecting, so they want to. Somebody already made them feel bad. They also want to make somebody feel.
I think there was a TikTok I saw one time. Yes, I'm on TikTok. The person was how they grew up outside of London. They grew up in Essex, and the dark-skinned boys were the worst bullies to the dark-skinned girls. And they were like, but guy, like,
this is what? Yeah.
We look exactly the same. So, like, so to what you said about projection, like, a lot of people also don't like some things about themselves. So when they see someone that seems not bothered by it, they actually project and then it all around. So let's do better with physical features, question what you're thinking, interrogate yourself, not in a, you're fighting yourself with, but just try to understand as much as possible. And me, I would say one last thing is like, community is very important. We've talked about community before. Like, a lot of time, I'm feeling a certain way. You know, I've spoken to God about it. I've spoken to my husband about it. I talk to my friends that are like me as well. Like, this happened. What do you think? They'll be like, yeah, so that happened to me before. Oh, this one. Yeah. So, but you can lean on a community as well. I think it really helps to combat that kind of like negativity of this or that, because you have shared experiences, shared context, and it's easy to actually say, okay, this is good versus, oh no, I need to lay off on this, or I need to challenge myself on this. I don't know if you have, anything to add to that.
I mean, yeah, we've definitely mentioned community a couple of times on this podcast. So I totally echo what you said. Like, and again, it makes the journey easier when you talk to somebody and they can actually relate because they've gone through similar, or they know someone that has gone through similar. So yeah, it makes it so much easier.
I think the final one I want to touch on is our deen, particularly like negative self-talking about our relationship with Allah. So sometimes people say things like, I'm not a good enough Muslim. Oh my God, I could never wear the hijab. I could never wear the niqab. Oh my God, I don't think I can ever, memorize the whole Quran. We need to stop doing that. Like, you can do 30 days of Ramadan or, 29 days. You can pray your salah with khushu. You are capable of much more than you kind of give yourself credit for. Again, we need to remember that as Muslims, Islam is really about the striving. Allah knows we can't be perfect, and that needs to be reflected in the mindset we carry. Yeah. So I say this as a reminder to myself, because I know I've said certain things like, oh my God, I can't do X. Oh my God, I don't think I can do Y. We should frame it as, we're working progress, we're becoming better daughters, better wives, better Muslims, members of the community. And so we should try as much as possible to say, may Allah make it easy for me. Those things that we're struggling. Even ask people to make dua for you as gifts. Make dua for me to be better at this. Make dua for me for this to be easy for me. And yeah, I just thought I would check that in, because I noticed, or even online, people say,
I mean, absolutely correct. I think it was earlier this week, and I was coming back from work. So I memorized a particular surah in my second year in school. Like, thinking back now, I just listened to this surah and I liked this surah, and I said to myself on the spot that I was going to memorize that surah, and I memorized it. And when I was coming back from work, I was listening to the surah, and I just actually paused for a minute that, okay, where, I'm making excuses of there are certain grand surahs that I want to memorize, and I've not exactly brought myself to 100% achieve this goal. So what happened to me in 200 level in university, and what the me of 200 level in university and me of now, what exactly has changed? What's the excuse I'm giving myself that that will make me super achieve what I was able to achieve? So I'm just okay, wait, I definitely need to fix up.
Love together.
I need to fix up and do this. So I 100% echo what you said. You're saying, how would I be able to fast during outside of Ramadan? How would I be able to do my morning and evening azkar? You can you 100% can just understand and create a system or design a system that works for you. I figured out that for my morning azkar, the system that works for me is I do it on my way to work. My evening azkar, I do it sometimes when I'm walking back from the station. So I've designed this, or maybe when I'm cooking in the kitchen, I've designed a system that works for me. My lectures that I like to listen to, if I'm on a walk, I do it, or if I'm doing something where I can multitask, I do it. That's a system that works. So just imagine me having that system that works, or me making excuses day in, day out that, I'm not able to do this. Yeah, you can't be able to do anything. I think you just need to put your mind into it.
Yeah. And again, Mariam, we touched on something important earlier. I think one of the first things you said, something about reminding yourself of your ways.
Yeah, you've done this thing before, so you can literally do it again.
Document of Anifah did this that led to this company making X revenue.
Yeah.
Anifah, like, write it down so that when you're feeling low, when you are like doubting yourself, your abilities, can actually go evidence day. Yeah, like you can
see what I've done. Yeah.
Okay. I'm good. So,
an interesting thing is that I've actually seen people talk about this brag shit. Actually, in the last couple of months, it's becoming like a lot of people are speaking about it. And this thing is that you would think a lot of people do it, but then you would actually realize that a lot of people don't. Because when we get to year end and we have like year end review, you see a lot of people struggling to write down what they've done. And it's not because they've not done anything, it's just because they didn't write it down basically. I had a colleague where, so we having like the year end review and she was like, oh, she's not even sure what she's going to write. And I started asking her, but you did this, but you did that. I always started writing. We had like a list of goals to write down, but because she didn't write it down, it wasn't like top of mind that, oh, I actually did this, I actually did that. So yeah, I think we should document more our wins.
Any last few words on negative self-talk, imposter syndrome, how to handle it, all of that?
So yeah, it would always be there as human beings. We don't know the future, so we would always wonder what if, like, we'd always play what if scenarios in our heads every time and for everything. So, like we said, the first thing is to acknowledge your self-worth. Like, you can't lie to yourself. So, understand your self-worth. Know who you are as a person. Understand the gaps you need to like bridge, understand the things you need to upskill on, then ultimately understand what you are 100% capable of. So if they wake you up today and say, if we wake Mariam up from our sleep today, what is Mariam going to be able to deliver on the spot? Understand who you are as a person for that. Once you understand your self-worth, when those negative like thoughts start coming in, or like negative self-doubt start coming in, ask yourself like basic questions. Am I actually capable of doing this? If I am, then yes, I'll go for it. If I'm not, okay, at this point in time, I'm not. What more can I do to build up, to make me get to this point and build up on that? And yeah, we also said there's the trust in Allah, like 100% is able to do he literally has the power to say be and it should be. So it could even be a case of you don't know anything in software development, and then you don't know, you get my drift.
The last words from me would be like, look, wherever you are, like, you have parents, you have grandparents, you have great grandparents, you have ancestors, and all of these people, everything they did led to you being here. Like, I know the history of my mom. I know how hard she worked to get to where she is. I know the grandma's history, how she used to go across different states in Nigeria on business. You know how she lived her life, the people she helped. You came from a long line of people who have worked very hard, who have sacrificed a lot for you to be where you are. When you remember that, you can't let anything get you down. Not even yourself, not even your inner critic. So it's fine to, think, oh, I need to do X, Y, Z. But again, remember your people, remember the son or daughter of whom you are. Remember how even Allah has ordained all these things to happen to lead you to where you are. And your journey is not ending there, obviously. So please, our sisters, brothers, everybody listening, let's not allow us to be the thing that is actually holding us back, right? So to put it simply, let's get out of our own way. It's normal, but they're kind of like programs of how to handle this. Anyway, we hope this was like super useful. Thank you again to all our new subscribers. Welcome. We hope you enjoy this podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube, Spotify. Yep. What else do we have? I think we have TikTok as well, honestly. Anyway,
follow us on Instagram.
Follow us on TikTok. follow us for, more tips, more content like this.
Yeah.
Let us know. I think we plan to share like a Google Doc thing where people can submit stuff to us anyway. So it's coming. It's coming. Let us know if there's anything specifically you want us to talk about. Thank you so much for listening. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, evening, week, night, wherever you're listening to this. Bye.